Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Meteorologist John Homnock with New York Metro Weather. Checking in with your latest weather report. We have a lot to talk about. I'm not sure if you heard the storms come through last night, but there were some big boomers in the New York and New Jersey area. And we have several weather topics to discuss. We have the showers today. We have a chance of severe weather on Sunday. And then we obviously have Hurricane Isaias to pay attention to during the middle of next week. So we're going to break it all down, do it as quickly as possible, and try to explain it as best we can. Quick look at satellite in the area. And you can see we have clouds kind of very slowly making their way out of the region. They're not really in much of a rush to do so. And then we'll poke and take a look at Hurricane Isaias this afternoon. You can see the storm developing here into the Bahamas. It has recently become affected by westerly wind shear, and the strengthening that occurred overnight for a brief time has really slowed down. So the system is kind of trying to get its act back together, but dealing with some dry air and some wind shear as well. But the first thing we want to talk about is the severe weather potential on Sunday. And what we're looking at here is the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And with Hurricane Isaias off the coast here in the southeast United States, the focus on Sunday in the northeast is going to be up here. So this is this disturbance here that moves into southeast Canada through parts of the Ohio Valley and into the northeast. Is going to allow for the air mass across the northeast and New York City metro area into the Hudson Valley to become more unstable as it advects warmer southerly winds into the area. You can see that advection occurring here in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So you're taking air and moving it up into the region that is much more unstable and supportive of thunderstorm development. Here we also see a core of winds at the 500 millibar level that are over 40 knots, 40 to 50 knots. So this is a good core of wind shear in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and that helps to organize thunderstorms when they do develop. So these are two things that we're looking at for Sunday that could be pretty impactful. And then obviously instability. So we have the disturbance approaching, we have the wind shear in place, and plenty of instability being forecast by the NAM model here on Sunday afternoon. So obviously the ingredients are in place for the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms on Sunday, and that really includes the entire Northeast, with a focus really on the Hudson Valley, Northeast PA, and parts of New Jersey in this general region here. But the potential for strong to severe storms could be widespread throughout the Northeast as the low-pressure system develops. Storm Prediction Center has placed parts of the area in a marginal risk for severe weather on Sunday, but they did mention the potential for an upgrade as the storm evolution becomes more clear. And in complete honesty, we do expect this upgrade to slight risk across parts of the interior Northeast for Sunday. So what does that mean for you? Keep an eye out for the development of showers and storms during the afternoon and evening hours. Keep and have a way to get warnings. Keep an eye on our Twitter, Facebook accounts, and our website. I mean, we'll have the latest as we go along, but the potential does exist for strong to severe storms capable of all hazards, so large hail, strong winds, and a few tornadoes as well. And we'll have updates on Sunday's potentially hazardous weather as we move forward. So, Hurricane Isaias, what's going on this morning? The storm strengthened a bit overnight, but has now actually weakened a bit early this afternoon. Winds are down to 75 miles an hour, so a borderline Category 1 hurricane, drifting into the Bahamas, and expected to continue on a northwest heading, battling this wind shear a little bit over the next day or two. Forecast models are struggling with the westward movement of the storm over the next couple of days. Ahead of that, though, as the system moves into the southeast U.S., we do expect unsettled weather to continue here in the New York City metro area. So it's worth noting that before we dive into the hurricane's movement itself, that we have tropical moisture that's really advecting northward up into the New England area, even with the system still down off the southeast coast, being pulled up into the northeast. So showers, tropical showers and storms possible even on Monday and Tuesday ahead of whatever Isaias does do down in the southeast U.S. But let's dive into that. Forecast models and ensembles have really come into agreement on the overall track of the storm, not the specifics, but the overall track, which is the hurricane will move to the northwest. It will make a close approach to Florida, which is an important inflection point in the forecast. And then it will turn to the north and then northeast, impacting the eastern United States as it does so. But as you might understand, a hurricane tracking inland over Florida and then through the southeast United States, by the time it gets up to New York, it's going to have a whole different impact than if the storm remains offshore and in the warmer waters of the southeast U.S. So this is the inflection point here is, does the storm stay over the open waters here in the southeast U.S., or does it move inland and start interacting with land in Florida? The European model this morning trended further west. So it now takes Isaias into Florida, on Saturday evening and Sunday morning, and then kind of meanders it around there and weakens the storm. So you can see the track of the storm here on Saturday, and then it pushes it into Florida. And one of the big reasons why it's doing that is because this ridge here over the central Atlantic Ocean has trended stronger over the last 12 hours of forecast models or so. And this acts to steer Isaias into Florida as a result. And this is going to be really important because how strong this ridge is going to act to sort of kind of modulate how the storm tracks. There are obviously other things at play here, but this is a very, very important feature. And you can see on the European model, the mid-level winds here, the mid-level steering, the storm really does get guided around this ridge here and into southeastern Florida as a result of that ridge trending a little stronger. Take another look. We're looking at the lower levels of the storm now. But again, here's Isaias on Saturday morning, and you can see the European kind of just shoots it right into southeast Florida as a result of this ridge trending stronger and as a result of the storm kind of flopping over to the west as it is a little bit more disorganized than previous model runs had suggested. So if that were to occur in the New York City area, that would mean that the system would weaken over the southeast U.S., and then the moisture from the storm would still come up into the area next week. But the impacts would be much less than if the storm remained out here over the open waters of the southeast U.S., which some forecast models still suggest. So here's a high-resolution forecast model, and you can see what it does here is it keeps Isaias off the coast of Florida, meanders it near there a bit, and then takes it up through the Carolinas and back out into the areas near New Jersey. And that would obviously lead to much heavier rain, a much more compact, intact system by the time it gets up here to the northeast. And the impacts could be more significant in our area on Tuesday morning. So again, the important thing to note right now, we are expecting impacts from Isaias in New York City there in the middle of next week. But what remains uncertain is whether it's going to be from a compact, intact tropical system or it's just going to be remnants with heavy rain and gusty winds. And that's all going to be decided by the inflection point of this storm here as it turns to the north near Florida over the southeast United States. And that's what we're focusing on here over the next 24 hours or so as the forecast begins to come into kind of a better view and we get a better idea as to what's going to happen. So what do you need to do if you live in the New York City area? First of all, have a way to get warnings on Sunday. Let's not forget about the severe weather potential on Sunday. Have a way to get warnings. Make sure you keep an eye to the sky if you're going to be outside on Sunday. But most importantly, just keep an eye and stay tuned to the forecast for the middle of next week. If you do live in a flood-prone area, in a coastal flooding zone or a hurricane-prone zone, keep a really close eye on the forecast. We are not expecting a direct hit from a tropical storm or a hurricane, but we are expecting the possibility of impacts. And so what that means is, we don't need to kick into high gear or panic or anything like that, but we should have a plan in place and start reviewing your plan just in case you do need to act on it, especially if you live near the shore. And from our perspective, we're going to continue to analyze this and provide as many updates as possible as we move through the next couple days. So stay tuned. Our posts and videos will continue as we move through the weekend. So hopefully this provided with you a little bit of an update as to what's going on with the weather. Again, have a way to get warnings for Sunday. Stay tuned for more updates for the middle of next week as we track the hurricane moving towards Florida and then turning up the East Coast after that. Have a great Friday, guys. Take care.